Reports suggest EFCC investigating the governor over massive corruption claims, what is headlining on the front page of the Daily Nation, 2 billion shillings fraud charges. Detectives say that through a brazen 2.3 billion shillings scam, the embattled Migori governor built a home worth 100 million shillings and sent at least 13 million shillings to his children abroad. Something else, Justice Jesse Lasit sent the governor back to remand prison pending bail hearing on Thursday. Prosecution is still opposed to his freedom, arguing he may interfere with witnesses. And now, in Migori, members of the county assembly are plotting to impeach him over a court case. And that's probably the discussion we should be having right now. Because up until now, we've not really discussed what happens to a governor when he is, in the case of Governor Okoth Obado, facing a capital offence, which may actually keep him away from office for a while. We saw what happened to Governor Sospita Ojamong. He was charged, he was arraigned, charged, and then bailed soon after. I think it took 2 days, and he was back as the case continues. But on this matter, Governor Okoth Obado was arrested, I think, on Friday. Today's Tuesday. He's still behind bars. He will go back for his bail hearing tomorrow. He might still be held in prison. He could still face other charges related to fraud. Surely, should we now start discussing whether or not someone of his stature as a governor should relinquish his position or step aside until he's able to clear his name? Is that the discussion we should be having? Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta did something of the sort when he had to go appear before the ICC. He stepped aside and actually signed something that is actually stepping aside for a bit and leaving his deputy in charge. Should the governors be subjected to the same?
You know, it's only in Kenya where our village logic is smarter than our national logic. This is what I mean. If the chairman of your chama, where you collect 500 shillings from each member every month, if that chairman or treasurer was found stealing from the neighbor's compound, how long will they still be chairman or treasurer of your local chama? You understand? It will be obvious that he would stand suspended. You would wake up in the morning and call each other and say, we cannot have this person as signatory to our account. Now, that is at the village level. How is it that that logic fails at the governor level? We should not even be discussing whether Obado or Jamong and all these people who have cases in court, whether they should have resigned or not. There are two reasons why you should resign. Number one is called Chapter 6 of the Constitution. You should be seen to be above reproach. What does that mean? That you need to be like Caesar's wife. You understand? You cannot be involved in anything that seems criminal, that seems wrong. And I'll remind Kenyans that today as we speak, those who have court cases in NYS, who have court cases in any of the corrupt scandals that we have, all those civil servants are currently suspended. Why is it that that logic does not apply to a governor?
Of course, there are those who will argue that a governor is elected and not appointed. And of course, we still subscribe to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But it does raise some serious issues, Honorable Wanga, that this governor is currently unable to carry out his duties. He's behind bars. And whether or not he'll be released on bail this week is still not a guarantee. Surely, even if it's not resigning, shouldn't it be incumbent upon any such person to actually step aside? We may even ask, isn't that the reason why we had we elected a deputy governor?
Yeah, in fact, for the last month or so, when this case has been on the fore, the governor said himself that he has not been able to go to the office. He has not been able to do any. He has not been able to make any public appearance in the county to do his duties. But that notwithstanding, because you can even fall sick and not be able to do your duties for a while, say seek treatment and so on. Where is his face, morally speaking? I mean, even live legally, you know. Morally speaking, this, you know, this is something that happened in the face of Kenyans. We have seen this girl. We have seen the murder. This is his constituent, essentially, because the girl comes from Homa Bay, but was a student at Rongo University. So morally speaking, does he have the moral authority to go and now start speaking to the public. I mean, I'm just leaving the legal aside, and I'm going to come to it right now. Politically speaking, he probably has a hold on MCAs. You know, this is how these counties operate. The governors have a hold on MCAs to the extent that they are unable to say impeach him. But I think, you know, in my view, if you just look at the way the statements are coming out and the way all these things we have been told, there are grounds in terms of gross violation of the Constitution, and even now when you come to the fraud, leave alone the murder. He has the murder hanging over his head, and I do not think he will be able. My people, my community, fear murder. It's really, really feared. Many,
whether he's innocent or not.
Yeah, you know, this thing now, whether you're innocent or not, is, you know, the court of public opinion has its own judgments and convictions and everything. So right now, it's a bit too slippery a road to come back and say, I was innocent. I think with everything that has been said about his phone being at the scene, about, you know, all these responsibilities, I don't know.
The investigations are still on, and of course I have to repeat again that the presumption of innocence until proven guilty still applies in this case.
In this case, it could actually be...
It is.
Fred,
Let
me correct you. You know, in the Kenyan psyche, we need to understand that above the law, there's a thing called morality. Okay? There's supposed to be a standard we hold true to, despite what the letter says. And I'll give you an example. The Japanese, when they went to the World Cup, okay, there was no law either in Japan or in Russia that says they needed to clean up after themselves. But they did. When the ferry sank in South Korea, the Minister of Transport in South Korea stepped aside. Why? Because we must bring ourselves to a point where we are not just politically accountable or legally accountable. We need to bring ourselves where we are morally accountable. And on that standard alone, then he should have already stepped down.
But Mathuki, even in terms of legislation, because we've seen even a case where a governor, because of ill health, has been unable to perform his duties for a while, for a period of 6 months, 7 months. Don't you think that there should be a provision in law that such a person who is unable, probably because of a court process or ill health, is forced to step aside? Because, of course, there is a deputy governor who can take over.
It's true. And you know, we started by saying it's unfortunate because it's an issue of moral. The moral culture in our country is too low that people don't even care even about their services. They don't even care, that they don't even realize that when they're in prison, they can't serve the people of Migori properly. But they don't care even about it. Look at the issue of Nigeria. My good friend Kemi, the Minister for Finance, the moment she was actually mentioned in a situation where she didn't participate in a mandatory youth service, she resigned. She steps aside, said, for the sake of my name, I would rather step aside for investigation to be done. And that is long time before even she, after finishing university or so. But now this is a situation where somebody is...
And that's an elected official.
That's somebody who is an official, a minister, in charge of, but now in our own situation here.
The argument here is that probably someone who's elected, the measurement should be different as opposed to someone who's appointed.
If you're holding such an office at that level, it's all you're accountable is a matter of public trust. You are doing it on behalf of the public. And you don't even care, consciously doesn't even haunt you, you don't even feel nothing. It's very unfortunate. But you see, look at the other side, it's about the law. What does our own constitution say? Until somebody is convicted. So until now, somebody is convicted. Therefore, obviously, now you say...
That's a law.
That's the law. So contradiction of the law and our own moral standing as a nation. And I think that those are some of the things, gray areas we need to look into when we come to looking at the Constitution. Because the Constitution should be driven by our own morals, by moral standing. To me, that is very important. As opposed to simply saying this is a law, and most of people actually hide behind the law, say contradictions, and this is not very clear, and they take advantage of it.
Because according to the law, you should even exhaust the possibilities of appeal.
And that time that somebody is being paid public resources, somebody is supposed to be working, serving, they're not even serving and working. I pity the people of Migori, wherever they are. In fact, I don't even understand why the people of Migori are not in the streets demonstrating and demanding that this fellow should have gone.
Instead, they're demonstrating against a deceased person. Some people were brought, some clowns here to Nairobi in front of the court writing banners in Kijaluo.
Yeah.
Who's going to read? This is Nairobi is not for, it's not Migori. They're writing banners in Kijaluo saying, oh, why would you mourn somebody who, a prostitute who dies, you know, in prostitution? That is the kind of people Bado brought here to Nairobi to demean, to crush, you know, to spite this mother, to spite the family. You know, this is unacceptable. The people of Migori, instead of saying we want services, now they are saying, oh, they are bringing a few clowns here saying this kind of thing. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable completely.
On page 6 of the Standard, there's that headline, ward representatives might have to kick out or save governor. Members of the Migori County Assembly are faced with hard choices as they come under pressure to impeach embattled Governor Okoth Obado because of what is happening. Interviews with a cross-section of the MCAs who asked not to be named painted the picture of an assembly torn between protecting its governor and bowing to pressure to kick him out.
Fred, let me tell you, that's a kind of cowardice, mediocrity and stupidity we should not tolerate in this country. You are an MCA. Your job is to represent the people of your county.
Yes.
And then you say you are afraid to, you want to speak in anonymity. What, are you anonymous? Are you an anonymous MCA? You are known as an MCA, an elected assembly member whose job is to represent the will and the hopes and dreams and desires of the people of Migori. Now you're sitting there where you are sitting, one, your governor is facing serious allegations, which, based just on the court system as it is, will keep him in the courts of law for years, if not months.
But what would be the basis of impeachment here? If at all the law protects him until he's convicted and he exhausts all avenues of appeal, then what would be the basis of this impeachment? The basis,
and you see, the good thing is, I am not a lawyer, so I can say something outside of the law, and this is what needs to be told. You see, if Elachi today, as we speak, was impeached by MCAs on allegations of flying first class despite the fact that she has back problems, on the allegations when they were drunk trying to kick her out that she barred them from going on trips. If those allegations were grounds enough to impeach Elachi, are we saying that the standards for Nairobi County are much, much higher than the ones in Migori? It cannot be. It can't be. We as a society need to be very, very clear. If Ms. Wanga here today, and this is what is happening to women in leadership in this country, pinched a nose, she would be going home for pinching a nose. When a women representative said that she wants a higher salary, Kenyans were all over the place trying to kick the woman out. But today, a man is implicated in murder most foul. Let me tell you, the fact that it was a car even remotely associated with him that has been confirmed to be at the scene should be enough for him to have resigned and for him to be impeached. In fact, this is what I dare the MCAs to do. Impeach him without grounds, let him go to court. You understand? Because that is the moral right thing, that is the right thing to do before God and country, and let us stop being cowards and saying, oh, I seek anonymity. Why do you seek anonymity? What's wrong with you?
You say, what you are saying, that Constitution is very clear, unfortunately. And I think there are almost like 4 or 3 grounds of governor leaving office. And one is when you die. Secondly is if you are convicted. Thirdly, if you are unable to perform your duties. Yes. And fourthly, if you commit an offence,
gross violation of the Constitution.
Yeah, Constitution. Yeah. And that is clear. And therefore, when we talk of now removal, and those are, again, somebody will go to court and the matter will be in court and all manner of things. So I think it's an issue of our own Constitution, which we may need to relook, because the Constitution should serve the people and not the other way around.